Happy Pride Repertory. What a year it's been, right? Through all the pain and frustration, and the loneliness and fear that most of us have experienced during this pandemic, well, I'm grateful for the community I have here at REP. Every week I've had the opportunity to meet with a small group of students in the GSA, and honestly, the conversations we've had there, even though it was over Zoom, well, they just reminded me that we are not alone in our journeys. Sometimes we just need to share our stories and to be open and honest, to make jokes and laugh, and well, just to be there consistently for each other. To me, Pride is a chance to celebrate who you authentically are, wherever you are in your journey, and to be proud of how far you've come. And how great is it to be able to share that with your community? So, please enjoy this collection of songs, spoken words, community, and celebration.
The rainbow wasn't always the symbol for LGBTQ pride. In fact, the iconic flag wouldn't show up until almost a decade after Stonewall. This is the real history of the Rainbow Pride flag. During Pride, the rainbow flag is everywhere. On shirts, floats, corporate logos, you name it. So what's the origin of the rainbow flag? To understand the Pride flag's history, we're going all the way back to World War II with the pink triangle. Like the Jewish Star of David, the triangle was used to mark LGBTQ prisoners in concentration camps. Then, the triangle's meaning evolved. Long after the war, the LGBTQ rights movement adopted the triangle as a symbol of pride. But in 1978, Harvey Milk stepped in. A San Francisco city councilman, he was the first openly gay elected official. Milk wanted a symbol that didn't have such a traumatizing past, that could be welcomed to all members of the community. Enter Gilbert Baker, artist, army vet, drag queen. Baker created the very first rainbow pride flag, and people would later call him the gay Betsy Ross. Woo, what a title. Baker picked the rainbow because he wanted it to symbolize our diversity in race, gender expression, and age. And he might have also recognized the importance of a certain Judy Garland song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, to our community. Baker rounded up 30 of his friends, took over the Gay Community Center in San Francisco, and got to work, dyeing thousands of yards of cotton. They sewed together these massive pieces, and we got this. Two 30 by 60 foot flags that were flown in United Nations Plaza during Pride. One American flag with the stripes turned rainbow, and the iconic flag we all know, with a few extra stripes than what we see today. The first Pride flag actually had 8 colors, each stripe with a different meaning: gender, life, healing, sunlight, nature, art, harmony, and spirit. But the flag kept changing. Hot pink and indigo got dropped because they cost too much to be mass-produced. Over the years, different groups have come up with their own flags. A trans flag, a bi flag, a straight ally flag, even a flag for bears. Hey, nice. There's even a new flag that blends the trans flag with an updated rainbow flag that includes a black and brown stripe to recognize people of color in the LGBTQ community. Baker loved seeing different interpretations of the flag. The whole reason Milk and Baker wanted a flag in the first place was to have something by and for the community. However it evolves, the flag is always meant to reflect the times and be more inclusive. That's why it'll never be finished, and always grow to be more welcoming of all the identities and individuals in our amazing LGBTQ community.
Nothing was handed to me, though it appears as though I've never worked for anything. I take my needle and sew for the first time today, but it feels like a lifetime ago. If I could capture how I feel like you do, within your verses there's a clue I'm used to. A needle doesn't speak until you need it to. So stitch it up, stitch on that smile, take a breath, in fact breathe for a while, 'cause if you don't, then it will all fall through. So what do you do with the life that you aren't in control of, husband or wife? If I had the option to choose, what would I choose? I choose you. It's terrifying to feel, to leave broken deal. You patch up that pain inside with silk and satin. No one will ask you why. If I could open up a window to crawl through, if she would just agree, I'd feel so brand new. A needle doesn't write like you could ever do, but I'm taking back what they never saw missing. They could drag me away, scratching and hissing, but I won't give till it's just me and you. So what do you do with the life that you armed to control? Love, husband or wife? If I had the option to choose, what would I choose? I choose you. Picking up on the slack, yet I make my way through what we lack. She nailed that door shut as she went, but with some time she'll open up a crack, and I can feel their eyes glaring down on me. No matter where I go, I'll never be free. If I could just be left alone with you, I'd take it whole just to be with you. Wait a year till you have a breakthrough, take our pay and leave this in the dust. But that's not how it works, 'cause I'm a daughter first, and I made a promise that I intend to keep. So here I am, unapologetic. I will never fall, weak or pathetic. So make the call, 'cause you are who I love. So what do you do with the life that you aren't in control of? Husband or wife? I don't have the option to choose, but I'll choose. I choose you.
Hey all, I'm Madia Tilly Carr. My pronouns are she, her.
My name is Nala. My pronouns are she, her.
Hi, I'm Ayala. I hope you don't mind my interesting outfit choice here, but I realized that I didn't have any Pride t-shirts in my closet, so I'm wearing a tote bag instead.
Hi, my name is Grace Tapia and I use she, they pronouns.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Royce. I identify with she, her, hers pronouns, and I'm going to be answering some questions for you.
I think that pronouns are important because they really are who you are. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and they mean a lot to me because I'm very connected to my femininity and the fact that I am female, and I can't imagine how I would feel if people would go around not respecting that.
In our current society, when things are so based around gender and pronouns, it's really important to make sure that people are feeling like they are representing who they are and not who everybody wants them to be.
Pronouns matter because they are essentially how you identify as a person. So my sibling identifies with they, them pronouns, and pronouns are very, very, very important to them because without them, they may be misgendered, and that's just not who they are.
So I think pronouns matter because that's how somebody identifies themselves. It's the marker, you know, for someone, if you're talking about them, it's important to identify them in the correct way, because for people who are not cisgender and use different pronouns, like it can feel very big if somebody misgenders them, because that's just not them. They don't want to be seen that way. And so it's very important to use the correct pronouns and really accept and sort of root for somebody in their fullest form.
I think of it like this. I think of it similar to names. Names are how we identify people, how we talk to them, not necessarily how we perceive them, but it is a part of it. But you know, pronouns are an important way of saying I consent to you addressing me in this way. And I think that's why pronouns are so important, because it's really all about consent. Like I consent to you addressing me in this way, and I have ownership of that. And I think that's where the importance of pronouns lie, because it's like, yeah, I have autonomy over how I am addressed. You're not just about to sit here and call me whatever you want. No. It's a respect thing.
Oh, and I would also like to add that it's important to state your pronouns and add them in your bios on social media, everything, to make the trans people, the trans community, more comfortable with saying their pronouns if cis people are also doing that as well.
An incomplete open letter to the middle school queer kid who will grow into me. Hi, darling. I know it makes your heart jump into your throat to hear that word, and you can barely breathe past the pulsing mass as it fills your head with its pounding. The same pounding you feel when you see that girl who sits across from you in math. The same girl you can't tear your eyes away from. You think she might be the most beautiful girl you've ever seen. Spoiler alert, there will be lots of girls you think are the most beautiful girl you've ever seen. This year marks your first pride out of the closet, your first pride one step closer to figuring out who you are. One more candle lit in the endless obscurity of identity. But the things the light reveals only provoke more questions, and I can tell you right now that I'm not going to answer any of them. Just tell you some things I wish someone told me. GSA is your safe haven and your battleground. You are suddenly bombarded with demands that you wear a permanent label and prove that you are what you are enough. That you're gay enough, queer enough, anything enough. You are an outsider surrounded by outsiders, and for once you are a little less lonely than you are anywhere else. Not that much less. No, because while GSA offers a respite from the confusion and the stigma, it cannot hide you from the cliques. Cannot hide you from your friends, or the people you call your friends. Cannot hide you from the girl who sits across from you, staring silently at the teacher, or at anyone but you. Cannot hide from what she makes you feel, or the reckless, glorious terror of it all. Find companions in people who have never existed, never known your name. Find acceptance and warmth in characters saving worlds with names you aren't sure you can pronounce. Perhaps your friends don't love you. Perhaps that's okay. Perhaps it's not, but the words on the page and the words in your ears do not judge. These characters who you find yourself in do not care that you are alone. They're alone too. They waltz through their worlds, their stories, and they find so much more than you ever thought possible. Magic and glory, sure, but companionship, love. They find things that you find absent in your world, so you dive in deeper and deeper and deeper until you can't tell which way is up, and perhaps that doesn't bother you as much as it should. You dream of swords and girls holding them, stepping out of carnage victorious. You think the girl from math class would look beautiful holding a sword. Someday, my darling, you will find someone who will dive in with you, head first. Someone who makes you feel like perhaps such magical things like happiness exist in your world too. Someone who alleviates your worries, makes you feel that you are valued, that you are wanted. Perhaps you will still be lonely, but maybe a bit less. I know it isn't easy. I never said it was. Remember where you came from. Remember the people, the sex workers, the transgender people, the people of color, the people whose lives were taken by AIDS, and so many more who I could never list out in this letter, who gave up their livelihoods and sometimes their lives so you and people like you could live and exist without fear. Be proud of where you came from. Recognize that you could not have pride without them, and pride is not made by a corporation slapping on a rainbow and a nice slogan for 30 days. Maybe still buy the shirt. Corporations do not make pride, but covering yourself in rainbows makes you feel like you belong somewhere. And God, when was the last time you felt like you belonged somewhere? Like you were welcome there? Be proud. Be so, so proud of who you are. I don't care if you scream it from the rooftops or whisper it to the walls when the house is asleep. I don't care what words you use on yourself or how many times they've changed. Be proud of who you are. Be unapologetic for what you are, how lovely and angry and wild and young and, yes, lonely you are. Wield your weapons of bone and keep your chin up to carry your crown. You are beautiful. No matter what they say to you, or what you feel, or any of the people who do not love you, you are beautiful. Every curve, every blemish, every unfading scar on your skin or your heart. It has been 3 years since I was you. 3 years is not such a long time, yet it feels like eons and minutes all at once. Some days it has been 3 millennia since I looked in the mirror and saw you, felt like you. Other days it has been 3 seconds. There is an ocean of time between you and I, yet we are very much the same. I gaze at the ceiling and wish I could throw my emotions at anything but my own heart. I wish I could belong somewhere. I feel like a liar in this body that no longer feels like mine. I remember the face of the girl. No, the young woman in math class. I am proud. I am wild, I am lonely, and I am beautiful.
You are valid and loved and exactly who you are, whether you're visible or not.
My advice for teens who are thinking about coming out is to do it on your own terms. Don't feel pressure to come out just because you see a lot of, people are coming out at younger ages, and that's amazing for them. But if you're not ready to, don't do it.
A really popular misconception is that there's just this one giant coming out experience, but the truth is you're gonna constantly be coming out wherever you go.
I was really horribly depressed in high school, and after I came out, I didn't magically wake up the next morning feeling 100% confident in who I am and everything I can do in the world, but I felt so much better.
While telling your story is incredibly important, maintaining your safety is even more important. If you are in an environment at this present moment that is unsafe for you to come out, it's okay to wait a few years until you are safe.
Whether it's in a new environment such as a school, a workplace, and for me, I've kind of realized that my queerness is so salient to who I am that I have intentionally decided to not enter spaces where coming out would pose a problem. The first thing I do is come out because I want to be my most authentic self in whatever space I'm in.
The frustration is totally understandable, it's real, it can be really painful and put you into a spiral that can be really damaging and difficult to get out of. But knowing that ultimately being a part of the queer community means more than any other label, I think would have really helped me a lot in high school.
And I know a million people every day look at you and say it gets better, and that kind of fake voice, and it's, a whole anti-hate campaign. You're like, okay, you're saying it's gonna get better, but is it really gonna get better? And I'm telling you, it got so much better.
But once you feel like you are safe, be unapologetic. Be unshameful in your identity and who you are. You will only love yourself more for it. And years down the line, when you realize that you have told your story and you do find joy in who you are, you will thank yourself, you will love who you are, and you won't remember the times that you felt as if you were hiding in the closet.
Queer culture. Honestly, I don't think I could encapsulate or, surmise, that's a good word, it's a real good word, all that it is in just a couple of simple statements.
Queer culture is amazingly obnoxious earrings and mullets and shag haircuts and best friendships turning into relationships very, very quickly. Liking little things like pebbles and like sticks. I don't know. I just find that tends to be just the random things.
I would say that queer culture is living and healing radically in the name of liberation, I think that is fundamentally what queer culture is. Because we live in a world, in a society, whatever term, that deals with the ramifications of colonialism. And what that means is that we have come to accept certain notions as truths, certain systems of oppressions of truth that basically dictate who is worthy of respect or of humanity. It's, if I were to simplify it, it's you have to be born like this, or act like that, or look like this, or occupy this body to be worthy. And what queer culture does is it looks at that and is not only act in defiance of it, but in spite of it, in acknowledgement of it, and says, we live anyways. We are worthy of living, of celebrating, of thriving, and of healing from those harmful ideologies and real life systems of oppression. Queer culture serves as healing as a collective. I think that's really what it is when it comes down to it, is healing and celebrating together. Healing and celebrating queerness, of non-conformity, of just living and that being radical.
Live in my house, I'll be your shelter. Just pay me back with 1,000 kisses. Be my lover, I'll cover you.
Open your door, I'll be your tenant. Don't got much baggage to lay at your feet, but sweet kisses I've got to spare. I'll be there and I'll cover you. I think they meant it when they said you can't buy love. Now I know you can rent it. And at least you are my love. On life, be my life. Just slip me on, I'll be your blanket. Wherever, whatever, I'll be your coat.
You'll be my king and I'll be your castle.
No, you'll be my queen and I'll be your moat. I think they meant it when they said you can't buy love. Now I know you can rent it. And at least you are my love. On life, oh my life. Discover something as true as this is. So with 1,000 sweet kisses, I'll cover you with 1,000 sweet kisses. I'll cover you
with 1,000 sweet kisses.
When you're worn out and tired, when your heart has expired. Oh, lover, I'll cover you.
You. If I wasn't the most amazing and kind person that I was, I'd love to take a bat to your house.
I think what I would say to conservative politicians who are legislating against trans people is that I know that sometimes it's hard to see another side of something, to sympathize with something that you just completely don't understand, that you can't fathom. And it seems like no matter how much people keep on explaining it to you, you still can't fathom it. And so that's okay. You don't have to understand it. You just have to respect it, and you have to be kind, and you can't oppress people, no matter who they are. or else, we'll never achieve a peaceful world.
I think I would genuinely say, I would look them in the face and say, why does the existence of someone bother you to the point, appall you to the point that you've removed basic, fundamental rights away from them? Because that's what it is. There is no complexity to it. It's just, you know what, frankly, I would go as far as to call it murder. Because when you remove gender-affirming care, I can't even speak, gender-affirming care from trans children, we can't, I do not think these people can even begin to fathom the effects, the ramifications of that.
We are not going to ever stop fighting. We will keep fighting for these rights, and we will keep putting up a fight. It will never be easy for you to take away rights to these children who identify as who they really are. It does not matter how you were born, it matters as who you believe you are, how you feel you are, and just who you are as a person. We will never stop fighting. We will never ever stop fighting. And you can try to do everything you want, but we are loud and we will just get louder.
Hi, my name is Ezra Cusack, and I will be performing Jeff's monologue from Porch by Alex Kump. In this monologue, Jeff is describing to Vincent his past unrequited love, the moment he fell in love with him, and how he knew how he felt. So, yeah, it's a very sweet monologue. Why did I fall in love with you? One time you smiled at me. We were at a party, I think, or something. And you were in a group of people talking across the room from me. And I was leaning up against a wall drinking a beer. I think it was Rolling Rock. And you looked up at me, like slow motion. And we made eye contact and you smiled at me. And I got this feeling in my chest that didn't make sense. It hurt, but in a good way. Like, looking at you from across the room was too much distance. It was like I wanted to walk across that room and take you away from this awful party and be with you, be close to you. Maybe even that wouldn't be enough. And it was like I wanted to be so intrinsically linked to you, just know everything about you. Like I wanted to just strip back all your layers and look directly into you. I wanted to give you a piece of myself that I could never get back. Even after you didn't want it anymore. I wanted my chest to hurt like that every time I saw you or even thought about you. Ever. After that. And I guess I sort of got my wish. Have you ever felt that way? No, you'd know. Listen, like, falling in love isn't like wondering if you're an adult yet. It's not like wondering if something's happened. It's like accidentally putting your hand through plate glass. You can't possibly not know that it's happened. So.
We drive through the woods, rich neighborhoods to watch. We joked as we hoped that they were too good for us.
I believe that there is power in numbers, and I believe that when people come together and fight for what they believe in and support others, it can really bring change.
Because a lot of times you can really feel left out on the outs, and it's really important that like you recognize that you have a community, and like Instagram will tell you have a community and Snapchat will tell you have a community, but until you actually have a community to speak to, you can still feel incredibly isolated.
And living in a society where marginalized voices go unheard, alliance is important because those who are not marginalized have the privilege of being listened to. So the duty on them lies in uplifting the voices of the unheard, and I guess that's where the importance lies. Of course, it's even more than that though. Alliance within queer people ourselves, supporting, because I feel like collective community is important. I think living in an individualistic society that is often lost, and that really, it makes, now I'm just rambling, but it makes life a lot harder, putting it simply, to go through it without alliance. Even in disregarding privileges, like even in queerness as a community, just not having that community is very isolating. So I think alliance in general is important because of that, because we need to have each other and support each other, because that's really how we progress.
Rep creates a very comfortable environment that really encourages kids to be who they are, and I think that's really important because a lot of the world has hate, and with this hate we need balance with love. And just because you identify with this group does not make you any less than. It makes you strong that you feel you can become who you truly are, and Alliance really just supports that, backs you up, and helps to bring change.
But will you love me tomorrow? Is this a lasting treasure, or just a moment's can I believe the magic of your sighs? Will you still love me tomorrow? Tonight with words unspoken, you say meets the morning sun. I'd like to know that your love is a love I can be sure. So tell me now, and I won't ask again. Will the city.